Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another X-Men movie related video. I thought it would be fun to count down the top 5 best X-Men movies so far, so up until Days of Future Past, including Days of Future Past, but not X-Men Apocalypse, since we're a couple years away from that. Let's do it. So some people might say, why don't you wait until they've released all of the X-Men movies first before you go ahead and do a top 5? And the reason is because we don't know how many they're going to be. Yes, they've announced Apocalypse is going to be coming out probably 2016, maybe 2017. But we don't know past that what's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe they could even do another one. I mean, the Days of Future Past right now has already made more than its budget in its opening weekend. So it's going to be a huge one probably. And I'm sure Apocalypse will be huge. And then who knows from there? They may even want to do another one. They may just have to change out some of the actors, or, you know, have some of them retire like Professor X and the others, and continue on from there. I guess we'll see what Fox has in store, what they have planned. But anyway, up until this point right here, what are the top 5 best X-Men movies in order? So I'm talking X1 through X3. First Class, Days of Future Past, and also the Wolverine films. The Wolverine isn't so much an X-Men movie, but it has the quick little tie-in there. So, and Wolverine is an X-Men character, right? So definitely X-Men Origins Wolverine will be counted. The Wolverine's kind of like, okay, I don't know if we should count it, but let's just say, for argument's sake, let's include it in there. So what are the top 5 best ones? So at number 5 for me anyway, it's going to be X1, X-Men, the first one. Now, the reason for me putting it at number 5 or being the 5th best overall is I think it's better than the solo Wolverine films because you get to see all the different cast of the X-Men. You get the whole crew there. We get an introduction to Wolverine, and it was a pretty good start. The only reason why it's not higher on my list is because it feels pretty dated if you watch it now. A lot of the actors were younger, stuff like that. The effects were not nearly where they're at right now, so it was pretty small scale compared to what they've been able to do now. Where you'll have Magneto, he'll move a bridge, or he'll move a baseball stadium or whatever that was, baseball stadium, and all these huge things that they're able to do now. The first one is really small scale compared to that. In addition to that, It got us started, but it was pretty short. There wasn't a lot to it. It was kind of like, now what I heard was it was sort of like a test. They didn't know if it was going to work, so they went for it, but they kind of, didn't put in that much of a budget, and they kind of just made it short to kind of get it out there and see where the interest was at, see if people would be interested in seeing an X-Men movie, and of course they were, and it worked. So at number 5 for me is going to be X1. Narrowly beating that one, most of you would probably have these in the opposite order, is going to be X-Men 3. So X3, The Last Stand. Why would I put it higher than X1 or the first one at number 4? Well, the reason is for this one is it has a good amount of replay value. It really does. Part of it could be because it's newer. Part of it could be because we do get to see that kind of spectacle battle at the end. But I really think that the final battle in X3 is impressive, very impressive. When you consider that Magneto, he picks up the bridge and drops it on the island, and then you see, at the nighttime, you have all the different mutants coming in, and you got Juggernaut in there. You've got even Multiple Man. You've got Pyro and Iceman, and Beast. The final battle is great in that one, especially with Jean and all the feeling there from Wolverine and between her and him. And the character deaths I didn't like so much, but the reason why this one's at number 4 for me is because the character deaths, as a result, now this is spoilers, so if you haven't seen Days of Future Past yet and you're worried about me spoiling kind of a time shift for you, click off now. So spoiler warning. After the events of Days of Future Past, the deaths don't mean the same thing that they meant when they happened. At first, a lot of people thought X3 was an atrocity, and it kind of was, because they had killed off Professor X, Cyclops, and Jean. You just killed off like half the damn X-Men. You know what I mean? In one movie, and that's a ridiculous amount. Now, there was other things happening around the movie that caused that. It wasn't just the writer decided to do all that at once. I believe Patrick Stewart said he didn't want to do any more X-Men movies. He wasn't interested. At least that's what I heard. Jean, she makes sense to kill off at any time because that's kind of comic book accurate. Cyclops, his actor, he wanted to go work on Superman Returns, so they couldn't really use him. So they used him for a short little while, and they had him kind of killed off screen type thing. But because of Days of Future Past, all these events have been undone. So it's a really fun movie to watch now because you know that eventually down the line these deaths are going to be undone, right? This is kind of like an alternate history now that was really like full of pain and suffering, like young Charles puts it when he sees Wolverine's mind. And I think it adds to it overall, and it works out really cool now because we know what's happened afterwards. I thought the Cure was cool. Angel was cool. We got to see a lot more mutants in this one, and I did like that compared to the earlier ones anyway. So X3 is my fourth best. X3 is the fourth best. In third place for the third best X-Men movie so far, I'm going to put First Class. Yeah, First Class was really good. A lot better than I thought it was going to be. You have the quick cameo from Wolverine, but it's really the only X-Men movie that you don't have Wolverine. And of course, you don't have Cyclops either. You have a young Charles, you have young Magneto, and it didn't sound like it was going to be very good from the start when it was announced. It sounded terrible. There was even a boycott online, people talking about not going to see it, and I was a part of that. So I didn't see it in theaters, but when I saw it when it came out, I was like, damn, I was wrong, man. This is really good. Especially getting to see Sebastian Shaw, Kevin Bacon as him was incredible. Azazel as he's Nightcrawler's dad as he's bamfing guys in the air. That was so cool, man. Oh my god. And the final battle with all the Cuban missile airstrike coming at Magneto, and he freezes it all, turns it around, how Professor X becomes paralyzed. Really well done. Almost number 2, but I'm going to put it at number 3. Incredible X-Men movie was First Class. Breathtaking finale. One of the best climactic finales in any of these. Then we'll go to the second best X-Men movie. I think you guys already know what it's going to be. Number 2 is X2. X-Men United. Great movie, man. This one was awesome. This one was like the first one where we saw Wolverine go absolutely berserk. I'll never forget the first time I saw in the theaters as Stryker's men move into the mansion, and Wolverine smells him as he's having a beer, comes around the corner and stabs the guy in the foot, and then stabs the guy in the fridge as he's shouting. Oh man, so epic. I love that stuff. When he's, Hugh Jackman, he puts it right into him, like right here, and he screams in his face as he's doing it. Oh, and then he jumps off the balcony, and you've got some of the students are younger, and then you've got a mix of the older, and wow, the ending and everything. Oh my God, X2 was just absolutely incredible. Some really great stuff in X2. And up until Days of Future Past and First Class, it was regarded as the best of the initial trilogy. It also, I believe, Rotten Tomatoes, it is the highest score of the initial X-Men trilogy. And I think it's the best one. I think it narrowly, for me, beats First Class because we have those core X-Men characters there. Whereas First Class, they handled it extremely well, but you didn't have my favorites in there. Only Wolverine for a second. The others weren't in there. This one was cool because it's like classic X-Men where you have like the regular X-Men team, or the way that I think of the X-Men team, which is your Wolverine, your Cyclops, your Jean, your Storm, Professor X, and all the others. The only one's missing, I'd say, is Beast, but he comes and goes in X-Men too. He's not always on the team, depending. He's a pretty important guy, so it makes sense. But for me, number 2 is going to be X2, and then of course number 1 will have to be Days of Future Past. Hands down, no question about it. It just blew me away. It fixed the franchise, whereas X3 kind of left it in this state of like, okay, what do we do with it now? Where do we go from here? How can we keep making movies after we just killed off like 3 of the most important characters in the X-Men? Days of Future Past not only fixed that, but it brought us the best action we've ever seen, the best character development we've ever seen, some of the best moments we've ever had in the X-Men franchise, and it really fixes it and makes X3 feel better. See, that's an incredible film right there that actually makes the predecessor feel better to the viewer, and it merges First Class with the other trilogy, so it feels fluent. It doesn't feel like, okay, this one was way before, like a prequel, but there's a gap in between. It like fills the gap, because you have the earlier versions meeting the older versions and the time travel bit and the Charles face-on-face, scene in consciousness and through Wolverine. But amazing, man. Absolutely incredible. It's got to be the best one. And I don't just say that because it's new. Sometimes, when stuff is new, people are all about it. But no, I think in 5 or 10 years, Days of Future Past will still be regarded as the best X-Men film. Unless Apocalypse is just like straight up just unbelievable. Days of Future Past, for what it does for the franchise, for that it fixed the X-Men franchise, Days of Future Past has to be number one for me. So let me know what you guys think about your top 5 favorite X-Men movies. Count them down. They can be totally different from mine. Let me know what you think and which one was your favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was like, oh, X3 is my favorite because I love the ending and the battle, and now that they fixed it with Days of Future Past. Or some people might think First Class is the best because of the epic battle at the end with Magneto and Professor X becoming paralyzed. Some really great stuff. Or even X2. So, or maybe even X1, I guess. Or maybe Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, although I don't know how you could. Baraka Deadpool? I don't know. I don't know. If you put that as your number one, use trolling. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, I'll call it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked the video, please thumb it up below if you want to help support the channel. Favorite it, share it, and until next time, guys, it's Trev saying peace.